And welcome to the Throwback Guitar Lounge podcast, episode number 38.
Number 38.
Barreling towards 40 and 50 and 60. But this is a special part 2 episode since our return back from the NAMM show in Anaheim. And we're asking the question on the Guitar Argument, is NAMM worth it? We're going to conclude that debate and decide, is NAMM worth it? Is it worth going?
We've got pictures.
We have real
photos.
Proof that we were there.
You didn't wear your Disneyland hat, though.
I should have brought it in.
I should have brought mine, too.
It was sunny in California.
We didn't turn it into a
vacation.
An excuse for a vacation. It was a great idea Viewer had.
Yeah.
Last show.
Someone
had
some advice for us.
Sort of irate suggestion that's why we were going there. So why not give it a try? Okay, Matthew, we're going right to... By the way, Paul...
is here.
We've got the Paul cam going. Look at Paul. Paul went with us to NAMM.
Hello, everybody.
He's there working while we're just leisurely sitting back and podcasting.
No work at all involved.
It's just fun.
Just coffee and...
Yeah.
But we don't have any cinnamon rolls or cookies or anything this week. Just coffee and maybe water.
Can't have it all.
No. If you had your wish, what would you have?
Me?
If something suddenly could appear right now.
I want chocolate chip cookies.
Chocolate chip cookies. Okay. Well, you've put it out to the universe, so we'll see what happens. It'll just anger more people in the show, but they'll have to deal with it.
Okay. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna turn the fan down a couple of clicks here.
Too loud.
Yeah, I can hear it coming through the microphone. Okay.
But just so people stay tuned, we have the Guitar Argument, but we're also going to get reflections from Paul on NAMM from a non-musician's point of view.
Let's see. That's right. Paul, are you reflecting already?
Well, I'm glad that you didn't just hijack me with that question all of a sudden.
Yeah, okay. Well, you start reflecting, and when
I'll have to give it deep thought.
Okay, well,
just honest opinion. That's all.
Just be ready when we come to you there. Okay. All right, we'll head back to the throwback mailbox here.
Okay, right to the mailbox.
We got a couple of items, yes?
Yes. Okay, the first one is from the last show, comments from the last show. Love the show. I have a question about vintage P90 pickups. Have you ever encountered mismatched Alnico magnets in vintage examples, say an Alnico 2 and an Alnico 5 in the same pickup? Could you comment on the tonal implications this might have on the pickup? Thank you, from New Zealand.
Okay. No, I have not ever encountered the mismatched magnets within a P90, a vintage P90, although it's not uncommon to have a bridge that's Alnico 4 and a neck that is Alnico 2, which is how my vintage 56 gold top is.
So, okay.
But the question is, are they mixed in one pickup? I have not seen that yet.
But just so people understand that in a P90,
there's two magnets.
In one pickup, there's two magnets, not two different magnets.
Yeah, there's two Alnico magnets. I've not seen it with two different Alnico magnets, although I have experimented with it as a way to kind of tweak the tone of the pickup, and it does work very well to do that. So that doesn't mean there couldn't be some out there that were accidentally mixed up at the factory. I just haven't seen any in the ones I own, or any that have come through for repair that had mixed magnets. But you can. So I'll give you an example. Let's say, actually, I did this. I have a 52 to 54 conversion, and they both have Alnico 4 magnets. Stock the vintage Alnico 4 magnets in the pickups. I wanted a little bit more output from the bridge.
Okay.
So I put one unoriented Alnico 5 pickup in there, and it gave it just a little bit more mids and made it just a little bit bigger sounding. So that would be a case of mixing them.
No, okay. So in the bridge, then
still that way. So
you put two.
No, I kept one of the Alnico 4 vintage Alnico 4s that came with that vintage pickup in there. I left it in there, and then I took one of them out and I put an unoriented Alnico 5 in there.
Magnet
so
in there.
There's one of each.
Okay, cool.
So you can do it, and it doesn't. It's just a way to kind of tweak the tone of your pickup. So if you have a P90 that you wanted to kind of tweak like that, the things to keep in mind is Alnico 2 is going to be generally a little warmer, fatter on the low end. Alnico 5 is going to have a bit more mid-dominant tone, and it's also going to be a more powerful magnet.
Mm-hmm.
So it will in turn make the pickup sound more powerful. And two, it just replacing one, it's a little bit of an increment that you can tell. It's not as dramatic as if you replace both magnets. So you can kind of keep a lot of the same sort of feel that the pickup already had by replacing just one magnet. All right.
Okay, so the next is really a comment from something you talked about on the last show. I believe this was, we talked about the that you had put the rings of one of your guitars in some coffee.
I put throwback M69 rings on the Guitar Center GO or 60s reissue that I have, and put throwback butyrate rings on it that were bone, and they did not quite match the pickguard. The pickguard material that Gibson uses seems to change. They're not real consistent about it, but and I wanted it to match. Right. So this comment is related to me putting my the throwback M69 rings in coffee to tint them just enough to pretty closely match the pickguard.
So this viewer said the rings are not supposed to match the pickguard in color. On the old originals, the rings are a lighter hue than the pickguard. A bunch of us 59 replica lovers have been screaming at Gibson for years, and Gibson finally started installing lighter colored rings a few years back on their historic custom shops, R8, R9, and ROs.
Yep.
The rings were made from butyrate, but the pickguard was vinyl.
Yep. So this is sort of correct. It is correct that the rings are butyrate, and the pickguard is some sort of material that's laminated, because I actually have seen a picture. Well, no, actually, the Mark that used to work here has a piece of the old material, and I have some of the old material too, but he had sort of the edge piece of it, and it was laminated. It was lots of little thin layers of vinyl. So I don't know that it's butyrate, but it's some different material. It's not injected molded material. So yes, they're correct. There's two different materials used in a vintage one, Les Paul, for the M69 rings and the pickguard. However, and it is common for vintage guitars, Les Pauls, to have M69 rings that are much brighter in tone, as far as being closer to a bone white than a yellowed sort of vintage ivory look. So the question is, did they come that way initially, or is that look more a symptom of how the two different plastics age over time, as far as either fading or darkening? And I believe that the answer is that they started life pretty darn close to the same color. The reason I say this is that you can look at the underside of M69 rings, vintage ones, and they're yellow. I mean, they have the pickguard, what you would expect from a pickguard color. My 56 vintage Les Paul I have the original covers for those, and they're clearly totally bleached out on the outside to a bone color. But if you flip them over, look on the inside, the original color is still there and totally intact. It's a cream color. In fact, the colors we use for our M69 rings, we have them in two colors. We had them molded in two colors. We had them molded in bone, and we had them molded in cream, or vintage ivory. We like to call it vintage ivory. So the bone color is directly, I sent my, one of the covers from my 56 Les Paul to the colorant place, and they scanned that cover. That's our bone color. And I had a PAF, Zebra PAF, that I was the first to uncover it. And I sent the entire pickup into the colorant place, and that is our vintage ivory color. So we have two totally authentic colors for that part, the M69 rings. But this is the way the plastic molder explained it to me. There are two ways to make a part that's that color, a lighter color like that. One is to use clear raw butyrate cab material that has colorant pellets added to it that color the entire mix. And you have to have a lot of colorant to do that because it has to make that clear plastic now totally opaque. Mm-hmm. And the other approach to doing this is to use a natural colored plastic, because raw plastic cab, you can order it either clear or you can order it natural. Natural is just sort of an off-white color of plastic. So if you have a lighter color like that you want to tint, it takes less colorant because you don't have to make the entire thing opaque like you would with clear material. So the vintage rings, most of them are natural cab butyrate plastic that has had colorant added to it, and that colorant whatever colorant they used over time fades to expose the natural base plastic material that was used in the original manufacture of the part. The other evidence for this is, if you look very often, 54 molded plastic P90 covers have a swirly texture in them, and they're darker. That is because they were molded with clear material that had colorant added to it, and they didn't add enough color, and it wasn't fully mixed into the clear base material. And over time, those tend to darken. But they made a switch in 56, 55 to this tinted natural material, and that's why a 56 Les Paul with P90s very often has bone white covers. It's because those covers started out cream or vintage ivory and faded with exposure over time. That colorant faded and exposed that base natural material, but the pick card, being a different material, tends to darken over time. So if you see a vintage guitar of today, it's very likely a Les Paul, it's very likely the M69 rings are going to be a little lighter than the pickguard. Pickguard has darkened over time. The rings have a natural tendency to brighten over time. There are a few exceptions to this. I think there are actually some M69 rings out there that are made from a clear base material, and those darken. That's it.
We need to have a.
That's a lot of boring info, but this is the kind of thing that it's a kind of goofy detail that I asked the plastic molder, and him being a plastic molder, he knew the answer, but I wouldn't have known this if we didn't have these parts made.
You need a flow chart for that explanation.
Probably do. I probably confused everybody. But
there's variation.
There's variation. So today you're going to and it's true. I think the Gibson Historics today they did a very good job, because I purchased a few of these lately. The M69 rings are a bone color. The pickguard is a more yellow vintage ivory color than you would expect. There is a difference. It looks like if you had a very nice vintage Les Paul of today, the color probably is, I'm guessing, in the ballpark there of what you would see on that guitar, even if we saw very little wear. But I think it probably started out much closer in color than what you're getting from a Historic now. Another interesting detail for the new Historics is they have shifted the tail piece, I think, the stop tail. so that it lines up more closely with the vintage one. That's another one of those details. I think they really have looked at a lot of these and kind of built them into the current models.
They've done their homework.
Yeah, on those. Okay, so is that it? That's it.
I think that's it.
Probably it. We've got a few more questions. We can save that for.
Oh, we need to go to our.
Oh, the on air. Why is the light off?
We're going to turn it on.
We're going to turn the amp cam light that Mark, our drummer, has so kindly provided the Throwback Guitar Lounge podcast.
We're officially now on the air.
Well, I guess so. The light says so. The sign says so. Thank you again, Mark.
Thank you.
We will periodically check that to make sure we're still on the air. It's probably a good idea. You think?
Yes, we don't want to get a call from the FCC.
Okay. Well, should we check in with Paul real quick?
Yeah.
Paul, we're just checking in with you. Have you reflected at all? Are you reflective yet?
Yes, very reflected.
Okay, we'll wait to get that.
I heard that Paul is building up his fan base.
He does have fans. I don't know what he's paying them, but they're commenting almost every week. Where's Paul? He's right there. He's still around. So, okay. All right, we're going to go to the pickups of the week.
Pickups of the week.
Pickups of the week, Matthew. This week, the pickups are... Do you remember me telling you what the pickups are this week?
ESG 102B.
ESG 102B. We make a lot of these for Collings.
Mm-hmm.
These end up in Collings I-35 LC vintage guitars. And this is fitting for this episode because where did we go when we were at NAMM? What was one of our first stops? It was our first stop, but they were so busy. We thought let's go back. We don't want to kind of...
It was our number one stop.
Yes,
so it was on top of our list. And they moved upstairs this year. They were in the main floor, right at the front, so you couldn't miss them when you came in the door.
And, of course, they had an I-35 LC vintage on the wall there with throwback ESG 102B pickups in them, with the short A2 in both pickups. And I have a Collings I-35 LC with these pickups installed that I will play. Should I get that now?
Sure.
Okay. Hold on here. We need a drummer. Okay. Here's a guitar. Let me, should I plug it in? I probably should.
Plug it. Can I make one technical question?
What?
Podcast question.
Yes.
I don't see the numbers up there.
What numbers? Oh, you mean to see if we're actually rolling?
Yeah.
You're afraid that there's been a technical breakdown. See, we're rolling.
We're rolling. That's good. That's all I want to know.
Yeah, we've this whole system, although as much as $1.99 can buy.
Well, come on, it's a good system, but it has its glitches.
It's not foolproof. No. So he went into panic mode there for a moment. Well, we are rolling.
We're rolling good.
Okay, so the guitar. I'll show the guitar. We've had this guitar on the podcast before, and you cannot overstate how amazingly nice a Collings I-35 is. Do you think it's did it again?
You got a 3.
So here's a guitar. It's got sort of what do you even know what I don't know what they call this color, but it's obviously red. This is kind of a vintage.
Is it? Yeah, that's a good question. Do they call it like antique red or vintage red?
Yeah, I don't remember what they call it, but
this isn't the aged version.
This is not the aged version. Yeah. I got this right before they did those. What a beautiful sounding guitar. And so I'll just give a quick rundown of the pickups. The ESG 102B. These are copied from a 64 SG we had in the shop here. Pristine 64 SG. The pickups are in that guitar were 7.4 7.5K bridge, 7.5K neck. So that's what we made these. We were able to compare it against the guitar, the vintage original guitar. This is a typical spec for what you would find in a 64 era SG or 335. The resistance, these are short A2 magnets copied for us from a vintage original magnet that we had destroyed by Thomas and Skinner. We sent it to them. They ground it down into a little wafer big enough to fit in there, small enough, I guess, to fit in their X-ray spectrograph. Mm-hmm. They zapped it with X-rays. They found out the composition of it, and they recreated it for us. And that's what's in both pickups here. And we did this, by the way, I didn't really kind of toot my horn about this. We did this long before this was done with things like Telecaster pickups. We've done this for Telecaster pickups, as rod magnets as well. And part of the kind of important detail of this that people don't often do is it's not enough to send the magnet in a pickup, because you're not going to get an as accurate reading doing that. You have to destroy it. You have to grind off any sort of oxidative layer on the magnet so that any sort of other contaminant within that oxidated layer does not give a false reading. So, although others have done this, we think we are probably among the very first, if not the first, for the little guy. I believe Tom Holmes, not Tom Holmes. I believe, maybe Tom Holmes did do this for Gibson, and so did Tim Shaw.
Okay.
So, but among smaller pickup makers, we're certainly among the very, very few who have ever done this, have ever done that. Anyway, the advantage of that lower resistance is very clear tone from low to high, and also a very good headroom with lower wattage amp, because you don't quite have the as powerful a signal as you would get from a higher resistance pickup. So it makes for a very even response. Okay, Matthew, we're going to play this. You want to get your bass? And
yes,
we'll be right back. And we will play something that everybody's probably heard before, but it will be
it's the benchmark where you can.
That's right. We have sort of a theme to what we're going to play, because it helps people compare. All right, we'll be right back with that. Okay, we're back. Matthew has got his bass, and we will play a little bit, and then maybe we'll discuss the pickups a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, but by the way, I'll show the amp cam. We get frequent questions as to what we're playing, what the settings are. It's a deluxe reverb. This is a 79 deluxe reverb, and the bass and treble are on 6. We're on the vibrato channel, and it does not have the bright cap clipped. The volume's just slightly over 2.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's what we got going through. It's going through an aux box, but the cabinet is a deluxe reverb cabinet in the aux box setting. The reverb, I am using the aux box reverb rather than the amp reverb, just because it seems to. They both sound great. It's just this seems to be the easiest way to get kind of the right tone out of it with this setup. And for the pedal, right now I'm using a Noble's ODR1 Gold Edition, which is sort of their anniversary edition of this that they had a year ago or so. That is set at drive at 3, spectrum about 7, and level at 5.
Does that mean that Nobles has been around 50 years.
I don't know. I don't. It was it.
Well, if it's gold, is it gold?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. It's gold. This one. The reason I'm using this, it has a little sort of base cut dial trim pot on it, on the top of it. That you can. I've tested also. I actually have one. The Nobles green one that has a high gain mode on it. It also has that same trim pot. It sounds the same, as long as you're not using the high gain mode. Okay, man, that tone with a little more dirt. That's the Nobles. This is with it off. Okay, let's go to the actual guitar shot, and we'll play a little bit here. Drive. Okay, that's it.
Very nice.
These are a great choice for the ESG 102B for a semi-hollow guitar like this. Get a little bit extra clarity on the low end. You don't have the potential problem of a higher output set that is kind of maybe pushing the low end too much.
Mm-hmm.
So this also works very well in an SG, because I often think of an SG as kind of having a slinkier tone and feel.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is a lower resistance PAF spec set. Okay, that's it. We will go now to the guitar argument. Matthew, we're going to go, we're going to put these away, and then we will be back with the guitar argument, where we will discuss, Is NAMM worth it for us to go, for those people that show up with their high hopes and loud, noisy booths? Okay, we'll be right back.
Right back.
Okay, we're back. We're going to discuss, for this guitar argument today, is NAMM worth it? And I'm going to argue that it's not worth it. I'm the one paying for it when we go. I mean, I guess, I'm taking it out of your salary, but so I guess we're all paying for it. But I get to decide whether or not it's worth it or not. I guess at the end of the day.
Yes, it does. It comes down to your decision.
So I'll say it's not worth it. I'm just going to, I may have changed my mind. This may or may not be my real opinion about this, but Matthew, you are going to argue that it's worth it.
It's worth it.
It's worth it for us. It's worth it for the people that have booths there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you want to support that first, or you want to start the argument with your case as to why it's worth it?
Okay. Well, you want to start that timer?
Sure, we'll start the
Put that
timer at
timer
5
over
minutes right there.
Okay. NAMM is worth it because although it has shrunk a little bit in the last couple of years,
A little bit.
it provides a barometer for the industry, and it allows you to have personal contact with customers, in this case, guitar builders for us, and people who do stop us in the aisles and say they really like our products that you just can't get otherwise. And you get that little moment. Maybe it's short, but it adds up over time, and it creates goodwill. And you put a presence, because we'll wear these shirts with our logo on them. We're not just walking around in T-shirts and blue jeans and things.
A beam of light follows us wherever
exactly.
we go.
We have a person up in the rafters shining on us. But it does give you this presence. Although we were, what do they call us ourselves? Non-exhibiting manufacturers. That's what our tags say. But, Throwback carries some weight in the industry. And, we'd like to represent when we're there.
Okay.
So you start and tell me why it's not.
Well, okay. So you said that it's a barometer.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that the barometer means that there's a low pressure system coming in and it's bad weather. And everybody's clearing out because they don't want to get caught getting rained on. It's not worth it anymore, NAMM, because the attendance is obviously way down. There's minus an entire floor, Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
When we first went,
An entire hall.
Yeah. When we first went, it was a teeming with people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All sorts of things that were kind of cool to weird,
Mm-hmm.
and music related. But you could count on you could count on three things, and that would be that Gibson would be there,
Mm-hmm.
and that Fender would be there. Four things. We'll say four things, and that Fender, Gibson, PRS, and Martin would be there.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just Martin.
It's just Martin. Although I did see up on the second floor, I did see Paul Reed Smith himself walk by.
Oh,
so
he's showing up, but maybe he's trying to decide if it's worth it. He probably is.
I wonder if they had a private. We'll get into guitar argument.
Okay.
Go back to the
so
argument.
you have the absence of these three major players, and part of what made it worth it was that you knew everybody was there.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was there in force. So it was an opportunity. If you're attending as a exhibitor, you have the largest opportunity to show your wares to the biggest possible audience. And that's now reduced significantly because you don't have the draw of these three big places. And the other part of it is you had an immediate exposure to what the state of the industry was from the biggest manufacturers that dominate it, whether that be amplifiers, effect pedals, new models of guitars, new models of pickups, all of the important parts and pieces that are sold as accessories or complete guitars or amplifiers are all baked into those big three manufacturers that are not there.
Well, I will give you that the presence of the big three is hurting NAMM, and I think that's just obvious.
Well, it's hurting them too.
It's hurting. I think it's hurting them. But what I would argue it's the little meetings that you can have, and just sometimes you can find little pieces of information. Now the real question is it worth like the 2 days of travel, the expense of staying at a hotel and going to the show, which now you can't get free tickets anymore. You've got to pay for that stuff. Is that worth it? That's a kind of a long run question. In the short run, you may say, well, maybe I'll go every other year. Or
well, we did get to go to Disneyland. We did do that.
We did do that.
And we did go to the Cheesecake Factory a lot.
Twice.
Was it just twice?
Just twice.
Oh, okay. Whatever. But that's a long ways to go for that.
And you got 2 days of nice weather.
Yeah.
And
was it worth it? I don't know. Okay, let's start with the cool down here. And then in this cool down, we will ask Paul for his insights. Paul, should we do that now? Paul, we're going to go to you. Paul?
Now I'll set this
You're
up.
on the spot now.
I'll set it up. This was Paul's first experience at NAMM. He never got to see NAMM prior to 2020.
Yes, so
before COVID, when it was at its peak, I think, for a little bit.
That's right. So now Paul does not play the guitar. So maybe this gives him a perspective that we don't have as to what the sort of value of the whole experience is. Okay, Paul, what'd you think?
I thought it was entertaining. It was nice to, see some of our customers' faces and meet them. I don't think it would probably be necessary for me to go every year. But it was good for me to go, at least once.
Yeah. So
And now I know what Disney is like.
yeah, Disneyland. He got to go. Tell us the rides you went on, Paul.
Oh, I did the teacups. That was by far the best.
The highlight.
Yeah. So my theory is the teacups are the nicest right there. But there's reasons for this. Now you should have seen Paul, me, and Matthew get in a teacup. It was almost. There probably should be a law against it because. And I'm surprised it didn't cause injury to any one of us.
Well, Paul was closing the door on my knee. It hurt my knee a little bit, but
yeah,
I survived.
We did manage to get in there.
Sorry.
But I think it's the best ride because it's not usually it does not ever have a long line, so you can get right back in it. Mm-hmm. It's thrilling for a very short period of time. Well, it's thrilling, and it looks cool at night.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
So,
very colorful.
Okay. Is there, but tell us the other rides, Paul. This is important.
We did the Matterhorn.
Yes, we did that.
Space Mountain.
You did that. I didn't want to go on
that. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yep.
Oh, he did that. You called these Chuck E. Cheese rides, though. he has disdain for anything that's not a thrill ride, I found out.
And what about
go on.
Somewhat.
The Tiana's Splash Mountain ride, the log ride?
Yeah, I didn't want to go on that because I saw everybody getting wet off that.
I didn't get
done
that
it before
wet
when it
on
used to
that
be called
one.
Splash Mountain. Okay. We did the Star
It's
Wars
a Small
one.
World.
It's a small
Oh,
world.
there's the Chuck E. Cheese ride for sure. That
was fun though.
Of course, it's fun. Did you like A Small World, Paul?
Sure.
Didn't your wife require that you go on it?
She did. Yes,
Okay.
that was
all right.
required. I enjoyed watching people have fun.
You went on the mine. What was the other roller coaster?
Thunder Mountain.
Thunder Mountain. You went on that, and then we went on the Star Wars. What was that?
Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Smuggler's Run or something.
And of all of them, I found that one the least, the most sort of like it it was, even though it wasn't a roller coaster, it was like kind of rough.
Yeah, I think
It jolted my back.
I think there's a lot
once.
of hydraulics that are jerking you around, and you're looking at a screen that is
Yeah.
changing.
Okay, Paul. So you think it was?
Well, you were the one flying, so it's really your fault. that
No,
you
I was
hurt your
only
back.
I was only going up and down. You were going left and right. Matthew was shooting the shooting stuff.
I had the gun. I was the gunner.
It was a 3-person team. You can't just blame me. Okay, so it was actually, when you think about it, it was a perfect thing to bond us, wasn't it?
Yes, it
Wow. Okay, so
it was
so
a
Paul,
team building exercise.
if you took the Disneyland out of it, what would you think?
Yeah, it was worth it.
Okay, all right.
It was informational.
Okay. Yeah. You want to play guitar now?
Yes,
Oh, it would. Whoa.
I
Okay.
just don't have time because I'm making stuff.
All right.
That's the same problem that Leo Fender had. He always wanted to learn, but he's too busy inventing new guitars.
Okay. So let's go back. Okay. Thank you, Paul, for your impressions.
You're welcome. Thank you for taking me.
So but next year you're kind of ambivalent at best.
Yeah, I don't think you need me there every year.
All right. Okay. So let's go back to the cool down here, Matthew. We had discussed about I had mentioned that Gibson, Fender, and PRS aren't there, and we figure they're probably not there because they're like thinking like we spend, I don't know, we don't know how much they spend, but it's tons of money for these big displays and rooms, and they probably like
Must be hundreds of thousands, if not more.
they probably think like, well, is this getting us? We did fine without it during COVID. Why do we need it? They didn't see a drop in their sales not being there. And then I thought like, well, they're assuming that if they have something that they've done for an extended period of time, and it's now perhaps there's something undefinable that they can't measure that they're losing by not attending. They're losing sort of a buzz and exposure that's unique to the event. And does that slowly creep in as being a negative, marketing negative for them? I suspect it does. But what do I know?
Yeah, I think when one of them decides they're going to pull the trigger and go back,
It'll
could
open the floodgates.
I think it could open, because then the other ones will feel maybe compelled they have to go back. But do you remember Gibson for a lot of years wasn't there, and then when the previous president, J.C. Curley, he brought them back to NAMM.
Yeah.
Because I think the first year we went in 2017, I don't believe they were there. And then I think in 2018, I think they came.
Yeah, I don't think you can underestimate the opportunity that it has for a large manufacturer there to kind of set the tone.
Yeah.
Of sort of like that model year.
Yeah.
So they had offsite. Fender had an offsite thing, and you knew someone who was attended it.
Mm-hmm.
What struck us was we went, and I can't tell you hardly anything from a major manufacturer that was like, oh, wow, this is something new and cool. So the things I remember from it, and I'm not really into this, but is the quad. There's a mini quad Cortex. I could not, there was, as far as guitars, there was a Fender sort of Telecaster, not Fender, Yamaha Telecaster style Pacifica, which I do not have a Pacifica of any sort, but that might be one that I would want to get. And
They're available right now.
I couldn't tell you right now. I could not tell you right now anything from Fender that's like new and exciting, or Gibson, or PRS. Am I missing something? Was there something that you don't hear? The things you hear about on YouTube have been new things from Friedman, as far as these sort of like power amps, I think there's something from Wampler, the Quad Cortex Mini, and the Yamaha Telecaster style guitar. Those are the main things that I just sort of remember from this.
I think Fender.
Did I miss something?
I don't think so.
No.
I can't.
So opportunity lost entirely.
Yeah, and usually this.
There's no like new. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No,
There's no like new Fender amp.
Yeah.
You always expect something cool new Fender amp wise, don't you?
By this point of the year, yes.
Yeah.
You're kind of waiting, and then you'll start hearing things being leaked, and then they'll, if you do get to go to the show, you get to see it, and if you don't get to go to the show, there's videos of it.
Yeah.
And there's none of that right now.
I can't. It's like the opportunity for them to introduce a latest and greatest something.
Yeah.
And you think absent.
You think they would have just piggybacked on it? I haven't seen anything.
No,
online.
Yeah.
Like even if they were doing something off site, they could have shown it to the YouTubers. Because I mean, if you show it to about 10 different YouTubers, that's enough. And then
and
the word gets out.
The offsite Fender thing was lots of cool custom shop guitars.
Yeah.
The question I had is, why so many? It was an opportunity for dealers to bid on them.
Yep.
Is this something they do all the time? I know they did have sort of a smattering of them when they had booths, but it was like, what did the guy say as far as how many of these guitars there were?
He told me there was 500 custom shop guitars at this.
So if there's 500,
event.
500 custom shop guitars, that seems like an awful lot. Maybe I'm just totally clueless on this, but is it any sort of commentary on kind of maybe
state of sales
or backstock that they have a need to sell? I don't know.
Well, I did notice that Fender, it has a $200 discount on the Ventera 2 models right now on their website, as does Sweetwater.
You can right now too. You can find places that are having 30% off on Fender custom shop guitars.
They're trying to clear out inventory.
Well, I mentioned this in a previous podcast that Eddie's Guitar has some very nice deals on Fender 58, not Fender, Gibson 58 reissue Les Pauls that are 30% off, which I have bought some because they seem like a really good way to kind of showcase our pickups. But they have equivalent Fender custom shop guitars for similar discounts. I don't know what that says, but maybe they're not kind of clearing them out as the pace they want. Okay, should we talk about in the musings? You were going to talk more. We'll give a few more details about the people we saw and met at NAMM. We have some pictures.
Do a little scrapbook.
Yes,
of our
you took some photos, and we will have a.
And we can maybe talk about some products we saw.
That's right. We'll give a tease for one of the. That's right. We mentioned products. There was one very cool product that we ran across that I was like, I want one. I want to buy one.
We did a little homework before.
In fact, should we just show it real quick here?
Sure.
Well, it's it is the amp stand. This is a tiltable amp stand.
It's from a company called Amp Tiltor, Tiltor.
And they had a aluminum version of this that I think is in sort of an anodized, just sort of plain aluminum and black.
Right.
And then they had a plastic.
It's a nylon.
Nylon, that wouldn't make sense. It's much more durable that way. A version of it as well.
Yeah,
and
the aluminum one is called the Pro version. And
Yeah.
then there's a sort of I guess you'd call it maybe, there's a little cheaper version just for maybe.
Yeah, but the cool thing is you can tilt it.
Yeah.
Because I always find it frustrating. If you buy one of these things, you're kind of locked in one position. And then if you get one of these wedges, physics will take over if you want to tilt it back too much and it's going to fall. So it's like this, you can control it. It's what I found and it kind of folds up into a little wafer.
Or it's very small, especially the aluminum. The aluminum one. What Now, what we did a little research before, and I found out that this company was going to be there, so we knew that they were there, and we saw them, so we went right over and we met the founder, president of the company. His name is Geza Kashihi, if I pronounced it right. He's from Cleveland, so he's not too far from us in Grand Rapids. But he was at the show. It's his first time at the show, and he has really starting out trying to find distributors for the product. So I got an email from him the other day, and he said he had a great show, and he's met people from Japan, Thailand, Greece, Germany, so all across Europe, Canada, Mexico. He's still looking for U.S. distributors, but and he's hoping to have this product in the next 3 to 4 months available. Oh. So the aluminum one, I think, is the one you got your eye on, but it's a neat product.
I think it's cool too that you can fold it right up and bring it to a gig, and it's sturdy, obviously.
Yeah,
the aluminum one is sturdy, and I've got 2 amps. They're heavy.
Yeah, 60, 65 pounds. Yeah. You could handle that, no problem.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it'd be cool to see if that thing kind of makes its way into a place like Sweetwater or something. Mm-hmm. Okay. Matthew, you're going to do your Rorschach riffs.
Or are you going to show the pictures?
Well, we'll do that in Musical Musings.
Oh, okay, sure. All right. Yes, I'll do Rorschach riffs. I'm ready to go.
Okay. All right. This is a bass version. You'll need to get your bass. We'll be right back. Matthew will have his bass, and he will Rorschach riff. Okay, Matthew's here with the bass. Should we give you a little bit more juice there? Okay.
That's good.
All right.
Do people want to see the bass?
We'll see. You were ready. You're using a pick.
I might use a pick for some of them, and I might use a pick.
Okay. All right, Rorschach riffs.
So this is the bass version, bass edition. I've got 4 different songs, and I'll play little snippets, and you've got to try to figure out, and you can play at home too.
Anything we should know about genre or era? Any theme to these beyond? Okay, Paul. By the way, Paul's going to be listening. If you hear a little sort of Paul working over there, Paul, you're going to be listening to these too. So you see, you're sweeping. That's what that noise is. Okay, but Paul,
that's a signal. He's trying to clean up. Get ready to go home.
Okay,
cleaning the house.
Okay, but be on the alert, Paul, for what these songs are, because we're going to ask you if you know. Okay, Matthew, any insights that we?
I'm looking.
Paul might really need these.
I think late 70s, early maybe 1980, maybe mid 80s, and then I'm throwing in a wild card from mid 70s. And you have to keep your mind open to this. It may be more than just a song on the radio.
Did you hear all that, Paul? Paul, are you there?
He's unplugged.
Paul, holy crap, we lost Paul. Oh well, I think
we've had a power outage.
I think did the iPhone go? Oh well, shoot, he's not going to be able to do that. It was working. It was going so well up to then. All right. Well, Paul's out of the picture, literally. Okay, Matthew. Matthew, start riffing.
Okay, here we go.
Paul, should we have him come in here and watch through the door? No.
He wants to. Ready?
I think he's fine missing it.
I think people want to see that.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Sorry. We'll get back to the riff cam.
Okay, ready?
Okay, I know what this is. Oh, wait, stop.
You You need to hear all of them.
Oh, wait, hold on. Okay. Okay, go on. Okay.
I messed that up. I won't do that again. Hang on.
I know it. Okay. Okay, do one again. I won't interrupt now.
Okay, here we go.
You did this last week.
I did not on bass. I didn't.
Okay. Okay. Do number one. Paul, are you hearing this? I think I hear him now again. I think he might be back online.
Back?
Yeah, I know. Okay. I don't think he's back. I'm hearing a microphone and just not.
Any other ones you need to hear again?
Paul just texted me. I think his wife called. Oh, what the hell? Now what's going on? He wants to join.
He wants to join. He wants to join in.
Hold on.
Here we go.
Hold on. Maybe we can get Paul back. Maybe the satellite hookup's back. Paul, you're there well, you're messing with the camera now. Oh,
Okay,
you did it.
am I back?
Well, I can hear you, but we're not getting camera. That's fine. We don't need to see you. We've seen enough. Okay.
Can you hear us?
But can you hear us? Okay. All right.
Do you want to do number one again?
Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. I know the name of the song now.
We're going to do number one. We'll start from the top one more time.
Yeah. Okay. But we're going to start from top, Paul. Okay, Paul, have you heard all these? Oh, hold on. He can hear us. We can't hear him. Paul, you'll have to come in here. You'll have to walk in here and tell us face to face. I'll give you a chance to get in here. Here he comes. Paul, just so Paul knows that the viewers know that you're actually in the same facility. There's his hand. Okay.
There we go.
Okay, Matthew, you want to give him the microphone? Just point, Paul. Talk loudly into Matthew's microphone there.
It's almost as crowded in here as the teacup ride.
It is kind of crowded. Okay, so do you know any of these songs?
The first two, yes.
Okay, tell us the first two.
The first one was Fleetwood Mac.
Uh-huh. What song?
The
Okay. Well,
my wife can tell you.
Okay. The second one is what?
I don't know the name of the song, but I know the song.
Okay.
We'll play it again.
Okay. Yeah, it's Loverboy, Turn Me Loose, just like last week.
But I played it on guitar.
Okay, do you know 3 or 4?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Okay, Matthew, you get your microphone there. Okay, Paul, thank you for playing. Well, you can hang around there, and you will learn what these others are. Okay, so the first one is Fleetwood Mac. Is it The Chain?
Yes, correct.
It's The Chain, Paul.
Yeah, that's what I said.
2 is Turn Me Loose by Loverboy,
The bass line.
the bass line, which is just like the guitar line,
Sort of.
except it
It's
doesn't
an
go
octave,
dun
though.
dun dun bow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funkier.
The third one, play the third one for Paul. It's Abracadabra by Steve Miller
Steve Miller.
Band.
Correct.
Fourth, play it, Paul. Or play it, Matthew. Paul,
Play this now.
does your wife like 70s reruns?
On TV.
Yes.
She likes MASH.
Oh, this would come on right around MASH time.
What?
This is Barney Miller.
This is Barney Miller.
It's the Barney Miller theme song.
This premiered January 23rd, 1975.
It's Barney Miller theme song.
A little over
Does
51 years
Larry
ago.
Carlton have any role in that, you suppose?
I wonder.
Suppose he produced it? He did a lot of... Okay, thank you, Paul.
Very well.
I used to like that show.
It's sort of dystopian in its own weird way, isn't it?
Yeah, like Chico and the Man. I always found that show just weird. I couldn't get my head around Chico and the Man, but I liked Barney Miller. I don't know, it's just the interaction of the guys on the show. Do you know Hal Linden's still alive? He's in his early 90s, 94, I think.
Hal Linton?
Yeah, the star, Barney Miller.
Do you know what his last name really is?
No,
I think it's Lipschitz.
oh, I didn't know.
I think it's actually true. You can see why people get stage names.
Well, isn't that Ralph Lauren's real
Is
name?
it? Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's Ralph Lipschitz.
Is it?
I think, yeah. Birth name.
Hal Linden played Barney, right?
Yeah, he was a
Yeah,
title
yeah.
character. Yeah.
I think I'm right about that. Oh, well, someone will correct me if I'm wrong. But, okay.
And do you want to talk about, do
W-
you want to move on?
Oh, that's right. Yes, let's move on to the conclusion of this epic podcast, where we will talk about your musical musings, which will be of the NAMM sort.
Right. So
Okay.
You got a little slideshow for us.
We do have a little slideshow. What do you want first here, Matthew?
Well, whatever comes out with that.
Okay, so we met. Oh, we don't have a slide from the regular guy we see at NAMM, Jeff Mackerlane.
Oh, we didn't
We
get
had
a
breakfast
picture.
with Jeff. He usually stays at the same hotel we're at.
Yeah,
We saw him the first. Did we see him the first time we went there?
yeah. Well,
First or
very-
second?
Well, the first time we went to that hotel, which is
Yeah.
about the third time I think we went
So-
to NAMM.
Yeah, we've shared like rides to the airport with him before.
Yep.
Yeah. So we saw Jeff Mackerlane, YouTuber, guitar player extraordinaire.
Played
Throw-
with Robin
throw-
Ford.
Yep, throwback fan.
Mm-hmm.
Actually knew him as a customer before we saw him at NAMM years ago. Contacted us.
And then Jeff's friend was
Yep.
it Jamie?
I think that's right. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on it, but yes, he was there last year with him. So it was nice to see Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
We also, so that is the nice part about going. We do get to kind of touch base with people that, show up to this because it is sort of a meeting of the guitar world, music world. But it's kind of shrinky. It's not as epic as it once was.
That hurts a bit, but
It does. It's again. It has the epic part of it is in the control of the big guys. That's where I think they're making a mistake because the epic part is associated with them.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think?
but there's also vehicles like this for just little guys like us that we can
Yeah.
reach
That's
people
true.
too. But it is nice to meet people. And
Okay.
to touch base.
So this we met another YouTuber who is a throwback fan. Has our pickups. We saw Steve Sterlacci. We just ran across him. He was talking to somebody, and we said hi.
Which is nice, yeah. Like
Yeah,
you say.
he did a video where he installed some of our pickups in his guitar last year,
Cool.
and he's a very nice guy. A very useful to podcast for people that are into modelers and is setting up things like Quad Cortex and stuff like that. I think he's got very informative videos on that, as well as being an amazing guitar player. Okay, let's see here. We also met with. We stopped by the Collings booth, and this is I don't see his name tagged, but you wrote his name down. And I know his name.
It's Dabney.
Dabney, that's right, Dabney.
He's the
repair guy there
at Collings.
And as usual, their booth there you can see is teeming with interested guitar players and dealers.
Now, if you look at this picture shows the acoustics at the back.
Yeah,
and then to the left, the gentleman sort of balding with the ZZ Top type beard.
Yes,
that's the
Steve McCreary,
the guy that runs.
Yep.
Callings. It was nice to see him. He wasn't there last year.
Oh, there's Mark Althans behind that guy's hand.
You see that hand? That's the customer service guy at one of our contacts at Callings.
Yeah. And
then the gentleman on the right with the leather jacket on, who's that?
Oh, that is
that's a customer throwback.
That is why am I drawing a blank?
Justin Derrico. That's right.
And he uses the guitar that has our pickups in it on the Voice.
Oh, really?
The Gold Top has our pickups in it.
So he's well known if people don't know.
He did a video for us.
He's the guitar player on the Voice, and he's Pink's guitar player.
I didn't stop to say hi, but he was like always talking to somebody, and I didn't want to kind of like tap him and just say hi. But yeah. In fact, you saw him like around the place.
Well, he walked through, and I said, "Is that who I think it is?" And then I just sort of wandered over and just saw his tag. I said, "Yeah, that's Justin Derrico."
Yeah. So it's like it's all sort of right there. Just
you got this little guitar world.
That's right. This is one reason you go, right? Right there, you have all those people, but it's just not. It's shrunk a bit without the big people there. Okay, but I guess the flip side of it is it's more of an opportunity for the little guy.
Well, that's what you said.
The smaller, yeah.
You said the other builders, because people want to see stuff. There's still a lot of people there.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for them to show whatever they've got that's new. So the Yamahas and the Ibanezes and the smaller builders.
Yeah, you probably get more attention. Like Friedman probably got a lot more attention for the stuff they're doing because of the lack of competition with as far as kind of the narrative of the whole thing.
Yeah, Ernie Ball was there, Stewart was there. So
yeah, okay, and here I am with Matt Larrabee, who is runs Larrabee Guitars, and I have known him for quite a while. We kind of went together long ago. He contacted me because he was had the same interest that I had in reproducing some of these vintage parts. And we collaborated on some of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he is you got to see him,
yeah,
and among other people. But it's like it's still it's shrunk, the whole thing. But nice to see Matt Larrabee also. Is there more photography? Or,
I can't remember. Is there another one?
Oh, wait a minute here. I remember one thing you saw that you wanted us to
say amp stand again. What did you want to show? Oh, yes. I saw these briefly. I didn't know if they were for guitar or not, but it turns out they're for
stereos.
The stereos. So
they're Tiki tube amps.
Now, this is the kind of stuff that you'd always see something weird and wonderful at NAMM. And it's like, you'd wonder, is that practical? And it doesn't really matter. They bring their stuff, they take a chance, they get a small booth at NAMM, and they maybe they do okay out of it.
It's just weird stuff.
You usually see a lot more of this kind of stuff.
You know the tubes are going to get broken, don't you? I think this guy's sort of like a Underwriters Laboratories lawsuit waiting to happen, don't you? Or fire marshal's going to come into your house and
your kids. I guess they're not going to be they'll learn once if they put their hand on those tubes, if those actually work. But
Okay.
We gave him a little plug, so maybe he'll sell one or two of them.
All right. You thought maybe they were for guitar, but it turns out they're stereo.
Yeah, I thought what I didn't have a chance to talk to them, but they looked so, it's the kind of weird stuff you see at NAMM.
It looks like the kind of thing that like they might have built on Gilligan's Island.
Yes.
The professor might have built. Okay. Is that it? Are we gonna need to like wind up the show here, Matthew?
I think so. I'm trying to think what other things we saw. Oh, I did see a 50th anniversary of the Ernie Ball Music Man bass, all in gold.
Gold.
And then I think it's limited. It's on the Sweetwater, Mitch Gallagher's video did a thing on it. I think it's limited to 200 or 300 pieces or something.
Or you can get one?
No. I'd like to get one. The one I picked up at the show was very lightweight because those things can be heavy, but it has some kind of gold leaf. It looks like gold leaf. Looks like real gold in
the finish?
In the finish.
Wow.
I don't know how they did it. If it's just paint or it's real gold.
Huh.
But we didn't have a picture of that.
All right. Okay, Matthew.
So now we're firmly back in Michigan. We're freezing, cold.
That's right.
It's sub-zero.
What was the temperature when we got back here?
Like 5, maybe? I don't know.
It was so, actually, this is how cold it was.
Or was it less than that? Was it negative something?
I couldn't get Betsy picked us, my wife picked us up, Paul and I up. And I couldn't get the tailgate open on our Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Wow.
It was frozen shut. And we keep it in the garage.
Oh, that was in the garage?
Yeah, it was in the garage. It just got enough sort of melted snow on it over time that
sealed it.
It just like, if it warmed up enough to thaw a little bit, it just froze when you shut it off, even in our garage.
Well, but now we're firmly committed.
We're back.
We're
Okay.
back. We're not going anywhere.
All right. Thanks for watching. And Matthew, next week, do not recycle Rorschach riffs.
I'm sorry. That was a little trick. I heard that the first time. I said, wait a minute, I could do this with bass too next week. That was maybe a little too
Okay.
much trickery.
All right. Next week. Bye.
Bye now.